Yo, what's good? This is Two Flew West. I'm Donnie B, got the beats. And if you're watching Two Flew West, you already know what time it is. I got my bro right here, Nicholas Baker. That's my bro and co-host on this endeavor. We also got our two really good friends and brothers. We got Demond, damn it. Let's go this way with it.
I like it.
And yeah, Simeon down there.
So you better give him a better intro than that.
Yeah, you know, it's like
with the points.
So, first of all, how you fellas doing? I want y'all to have, take the time to introduce yourselves, but like I said, how you guys doing? What's good with you guys, man?
Doing damn well. I do stand-up comedy, motherfuckers. That's what I do. I get paid minimally to make people laugh maximally. And as Simeon knows, because he's probably the only person that's come to multiple shows of mine in the world. And I have found that comedy is like the knee-jerk reaction of tension. So any type of stress that the nation, the person, individual goes through, comedy reflects it. And you can best articulate comedy if you can put your finger on the pulse of what's going wrong or what tension people have. Right. So I have really spent a lot of time learning more about ourselves as a people so I can express it comedically. I don't go into the club looking to make people laugh. I go in there trying to make people learn about us and to feel a connection with us and to hopefully improve the situation we're in. But like Chappelle said best, nobody give a fuck unless you got a punchline behind it. Right. So I think my approach has been to enlighten people as comedically as possible. And we all know each other from college and we all have a great fondness for our history, whatever. But I probably stayed closest to Simeon. And it's a good thing that I've done that because he's helped me to grow and expand my consciousness. Because we all think just because we Black, we can pass Black history in high school, and that ain't necessarily true. And B, that we are as conscious as possible, and that is proven to be untrue. So I try to enlighten myself as much as possible to make my comedy better, make me a better husband, better man, better whatever. And I think that's why I'm here today.
Awesome. And Demond, how long you been a comedian?
Professionally, I'd say since 2012, so 8 years. But I've been swinging at the ball for 20 years.
All right.
He said all that to say that I made him cuss more. so my foul mouth made him cuss more. But what's up, fam? I'm Simeon. I'm here in Georgia, trying not to break too much and just living life, man. Really focusing on some of the local politics here as well as some of the national politics here, and trying to be civically engaged while kicking it with my people. So I feel the same about Demar because he always hits me with that other side of things that I didn't think about, give me more reasons to curse and all of that together. So and I'm happy to be here with y'all two brothers too, man.
Great. And Simeon, so you actually have done work with the NAACP out there in Georgia and so forth and so on, right?
Yeah, several different civic organizations, man, because I think, we got to get back in these organizations and start to push the narrative that we need. I think a lot of the organizations that historically were supposed to represent us have gone amok and they've started to represent everybody but us, and using terminology that is everybody but us. Whenever I hear terms like people of color or minority, I know that means everybody but Negro, because that's exactly what it really means. And one of the pivotal moments in my more recent life was watching when Byron Allen had that case at the Supreme Court. He was fighting Comcast, and essentially Comcast was trying to say, well, if they were trying to strike down a key provision of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and the provision basically made it to where you have to prove as a Black person that the only reason they didn't deal with you was because of racism. Like it had to be the only reason. Whereas normally, if it was just one of the reasons, it was enough to prove racism. And Comcast was trying to strike it down. And what I noticed is the NAACP wasn't out in front of the Supreme Court steps that day, but they were out the very next day for DACA. So so here we go. Our rights got stripped away. By the way, RBG, the notorious RBG, she voted in favor of our rights getting stripped away. All of those people that were supposed to be liberal voted in favor of our rights getting stripped away. And they turned around all of our civic organizations, the Urban League, the NAACP, they all failed us. All of them were quiet while we sat here and struggled as a people and reached peak turmoil as a people. They're out there making deals. Well, who's on the board of the NAACP? Comcast. Who's on, so all of these different things. So my civic engagement was really about raising hell and making sure that our organizations at least spoke to the people that they were supposed to speak to, at least advocated locally for the people that they're supposed to advocate for. And I think, I challenge anybody to get out there, get in one of these organizations, understand what they're doing, and then raise a little damn cane. Because at the end of the day, if 6 out of 10 Black folks who were born middle class die in poverty, that means that there's a systemic issue. If a Black male with a college degree would get out of college making less than a white man with a high school degree, that means there's a systemic issue and there's something seriously wrong with our politics. So my attitude was to raise a little bit of hell. And I try to do it everywhere I can, with or without burden.
Well, you know what? Welcome to hell. Let's get it in. You feel what I'm saying? I would love, we got a topic coming up later. Like, I want to hear your thoughts about like Ice Cube's approach. Because like some of the things he said and what he was presenting kind of touch on some of the things you were saying. But we'll jump into that because I definitely want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely think it's impressive. I mean, obviously both of you guys are, well respected and well loved, your family, but to see you guys these many years later, and you guys are pivotal parts of the community, activism out, in your outreach is so crazy. It's just, it's heartwarming, bro. Definitely.
That's what's up, dog.
Yes, man. Seriously. With that being said, I want to take it outside of the political range first. And we want to discuss a topic really quick first, off the break. Since we all went to the HU, not an HU, not the other HU.
There's more than one? Because I only know one, and it's the great one.
I mean, they may beg to differ now due to the political climate. I'm just saying because, the accolades, now we can't shut them up. But in the grand scheme of things, we went to the HU. And the first topic is we want to understand, what is your thoughts of the benefits of attending an HBCU? Like, much can be said about, going to whatever school or whatever, college you feel is best for you. But as we all know, because we all went to an HBCU, wanted to get your thoughts as far as both from, a comedic profession perspective, as well as a political activism perspective. What do you feel the benefits are of attending an HBCU for us? Not, like you said, people of color, but for us.
Most comics don't go to college. So, I sit in green rooms all the time and shut the fuck up. However, I remember a conversation I had with what's your fucking name? What am I calling you? I don't want to say.
I feel like you're coming to me, so it can be Nick, it can be Devin, whatever, man. It's good.
Nick. I like to stay behind the curtain. I don't want to open the curtain and let everybody know. I don't want everybody to see, like a wizard.
I'm all of it and none of it, all at the same
time. Like his name is Bartholomew.
Right. I didn't want to say Bartholomew. You said too much already. But back when we were Bartholomew and them, I remember him saying on the campus of Hampton, and that shit rung true and it stuck with me all these years. He was like, do you realize if you take a document, he held his hand like this, you take a document to the business office and hand it to them, and to turn around and leave, then get back in line and go back to the front. You remember this? And ask for that document. They can't find it. And I was like,
that's not like something you would say too. That's what's hilarious.
Because he was mad. He had just left the business. And I just remember, I'm like, you know what? I speak in hyperbole. I know when somebody's exaggerating something just for artistic value. He's saying that shit for real. That's true. And I remember later that month doing that, and they couldn't find it, dog. And I looked in the back, and there would be piles. And this, I'm not trying to discredit the school, but this is just a reality. There would be piles of documents that they hadn't even got to the file because understaffing, a wealth gap. I don't know what to blame it on. I really don't. But that's uncalled for, and that's unnecessary, and that's something we as organized adults need to address. But I went to Hampton University because I was undergoing a part of my life where I was really rebellious, and I feel like I was really blaming white people for all my problems, like absolutely everything. They have a lot. They have 90% to do with most of our problems.
I was thinking 92 with that.
92.
I was thinking 92 to be honest.
Because you cold-blooded. I always give people 2%. I always get 2%. I drink 2% milk, all that shit. So 90% of our problems may have an original stem in white supremacy. That's fine. That's not all of our problems. But the 18-year-old Damon that went to Hampton in 96 literally thought they spawned all of my issues as a black man. It took going to Hampton and dealing with that issue in regards to the business office, dealing with issues regarding the president. I still ain't passed Dr. Stokes' class. I think I'm still in the
I don't think anybody did.
I think I'm still in his class. I don't remember taking any L's or whatever. So it took dealing with professional blacks that I respected to see, oh, we fucked up too. And a lot of our problems come from a lack of what we're doing. We're buying into the white supremacist view, and we're selling ourselves our very own destruction. So it helped me to balance myself in that I had to be more proactive. I started adopting a self-consciousness where personal accountability was a larger part of everything I did. All my approaches have that, where I'm like, the first person you look to in your issue is what you did wrong, how you addressed it. And I can honestly attribute that to going to a black school. An HBCU, it'll make clear to you a flaw in the university truth, but it will also teach you what you need to do to improve your own situation, because there's a lot of areas at HBCU that just give you growth. It gives you authority over your own existence. And I think about all the bands that came out of Hampton while we were there, the Fuzz Band and all those groups. They wouldn't have existed at like a state-funded, just primarily white institution, because I think they really trained you at those schools. Because I ended up graduating at Middle Tennessee State, so I went to another school and I got to see the difference. So I have a very specific viewpoint. They train you how to be a worker. They want you to go out into the workforce and work. But at HBCUs, I really do feel they train you to understand self-reliance, independence, and how you can make a change. But you got to be motivated to do it yourself. Two Flew West didn't come out of a idea of you being an employee for somebody else. It came from an entrepreneurial spirit that I feel HBCUs birth. But at the same time, depending on what your mind state is, which is why I tell everybody, before you send your child to HBCU, know who your child is, because they have to have a self-motivating engine that can take nothing and hone it into something, as long as there's some guidance, which is what those schools give you. They give you guidance and a perception of who you are, but they give you a whole bunch of freedom to be whatever the fuck you can imagine you want to be. So you got to be willing to accept the flaws, get past it, and deal with it and see who you are to create a reality for yourself. And I don't think you get that freedom at primarily white institutions.
Yeah, I'd agree with a big part of that. And just for context, only 16% of black folks go to college. So just to throw something out there, when they're talking about forgiving student loan debt and that closing the racial wealth gap, that's full of shit. But just to color that out there. With that in mind, though, I loved my time at Hampton University. It was some of the best. But I think that it's important to understand that one of the main purposes for college is something that as Black folks is really hard to take advantage of, and that's to gain social capital. Right. So it's to gain the social capital of being able to, oh, okay, yeah, my buddy is the CEO over here. I'm a CEO over here. Or my buddy's a lawyer over here, or so forth, so on. But because Black folks are locked out in so many areas, with the exception of the smallest percentage of Black folks, we don't leave college with the social capital that white folks leave their colleges with, because their social capital is based on familiar wealth, right? So it's based on the wealth of their families. And so I think inherently a Black college or a white college for a Black kid isn't going to serve the fullest need that college is supposed to serve. So then it becomes about the education. Well, you graduate college and recognize that whoever you start working for is going to be like, we finna train, right? So then you have to ask yourself, what is it really for? And I believe the social capital side is one of the bigger sides. I was real grateful here in my county. A Hampton alum is the new tax commissioner, right? You know what I mean? If you look at all of your Black lawyers, your Black doctors, your Black professionals, your architects, all of the professionals, if you see a person climbing a ladder, 9 times out of 10, that's an HBCU graduate. And I think part of that is having a safe environment to learn, which I think is important. One of the main important aspects of HBCUs is because I never once had to wonder, was it racism while I was going to an HBCU? It might have been mediocrity in administration. It might have been these, that, and the thirds, but I never had to wonder, was it racism?
Right.
That's true. And learning in that type of safe environment and being able to see the highest educated folks as Black folks, the highest administrators as Black folks, even seeing our president move with the level of power that he moved, I think was a benefit to Black folks. Now, the problem I have with HBCUs is you come out there politically dumb. What's the use in having a Black hub for Black intellectualism and Black intelligence if it doesn't also include the politics needed for collective uplift? So I think if you got out of college and you didn't know anything more about how Black folks have been systemically and systematically destroyed and decimated in the same country, same state, same city that you're going to school in.
Let me interrupt. Can I interrupt you, Simeon?
Please.
As I just did. Do you feel like that's conscientiously done to us at the college level? Or is this something that
Absolutely it is, because we want to wish the racism away. Because our politics is based on respectability, we want to achieve the racism away. That's why you hear terms like overcome racism. How can you overcome something that's supreme? You have to destroy it. So when one person gets in front of it, oh, they made it, and then we'll give them passes for not doing anything for us. So my question is, did they really make it if they can't help the people that got them there?
Right.
They really didn't make it. So what we're really talking about is acceptance within white society. And acceptance within white society requires you to be detrimental to Black society.
True.
And you know what's crazy about that is that too, specifically speaking to the systemic oppression of Black folk. There is a website called Separated by Design. Separated by Design. No, maybe it's Segregated by Design. I'll put that in the link and find it. But it is a eye-opening experience to watch, because it really systemically shows. A matter of fact, it's called Segregated by Design. Excuse me. and it shows that how the United States formed an alliance through the FHA to systemically target Black folk and create what was called red lines and totally eradicate how Black people, could potentially rise.
A good book on that, sorry to interrupt, is The Color of Law. The Color of Law, that entire book is about just that. And it talks about how after desegregation, the FHA basically redlined everyone back into segregation. Right. You read about most of the interstates in the country, you'll find that those interstates were built over Black financial districts. Yeah. Right. So you're talking about government sanctioned racism, government sanctioned terrorism through the form of economic denial. And so I think you're spot on with that, dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like I said, it was very eye opening. I actually got exposed to it through a job I was working with, and our ethics department raised awareness on it, and they made us watch it. And it was like, being a black man, not a person of color, but a Black man looking at this thing like, okay, yeah, I didn't, no knock, but I didn't learn this in my freshman year, humanities. You know what I'm saying?
What's the point of taking history if they're not going to teach you? So we get taught that we need to rise above, or you need to be twice as good, when what we really should be taught is the system is rigged. Right. So what it does is it creates a pathological feeling that you fail instead of, we need to upend this system. And so imagine the mental health of the average Black person as a result of this. Imagine all of the failure that we've taken on to ourselves by not acknowledging the systematic structure designed to make us fail. As a matter of fact, our failure is what fuels America. So when it was time to give people jobs, what do? You incarcerate Black folks. Now you got guards. Now you got vendors. Now you got someone to bring toilet paper to the county jail. I happen to live in the county that has the largest county jail in the Southeast, right? Largest county jail in the Southeast. So think about all of the people that work because of all the Black folks that they incarcerate. You got, every from the judicial system, you got lawyers that are working, you got nurses, you got people bringing paper to the jail, you got people supplying clothes, people supplying shoes, people supplying concessions, you got phone carriers working to make sure you can get some calls, you got people doing contracts for tablets. So whole economies are built on our destruction. Whole economies are built on our destruction. So one of the people that I listened to, Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, one of the statements that they've made that I think was best is, we are the shoes that everyone else uses to run the race of America. So it's not like we started late. No, we're the actual shoes. So it's our failure, or the design of our failure that fuels America.
That's right. That's right.
Y'all have brought up a lot of points. I was trying to keep all the points in my head that y'all brought up, but I think Demar, you said something that really stuck to me. Just like going to an HBCU with the mindset that it's every failure I have or every putback I have is due to white people's failure, right? Or not white people's failure, but due to white people, right? Like there's systemic racism, and these things are true, and they are definitely there. But these are sometimes self-inflicted wounds that we have that we don't know we're creating. You know what I mean? Like you go into it with the mindset that when you saying I have to work twice as hard, in some ways you're saying I'm less than.
Yes, you are. You absolutely are.
That's exactly right.
And that's the mindset that you start with. And it's funny I work in education now. So when we challenge, because we have a lot of, DEI sessions and those are the thing of the, time now. And I think some of them can be really helpful, but when you tend to challenge some folks and say some of the thoughts you have right now are racist. Oh, I'm not a racist. No. And they can't even fathom that thought. And it's just think about some of the things that when you say, you know, I come here because I want to help Black and brown kids, right? I don't think it's your statement is almost saying they need my help. Like I have to pull them up. You know what I mean? It's not
as if something is intrinsically wrong with them.
Well, and without acknowledging the system, what the statement should say is they need my help because I refuse to politically put my capital into ensuring they are able to live the American dream. So they need my help because I'm a piece of shit. And my family, a lot of my family are pieces of shit. We come from a long line of pieces of shit that won't do what it takes to make sure America is equitable for everyone. And I wish they would finish that sentence.
And equitable, you know, people tend to not like understand equitable and equal. Those are two very, very different words.
Break it down.
Try to use them like simultaneously. You know what I mean? And it's like, nah, it's not the same thing. Because to be real, have you read the book How to Be an Anti-Racist?
No, I haven't.
Read that book. Very strong concepts in there, but basically, to sum up a lot of the book, is saying like the only way to possibly right the wrong is that there's going to have to be some unequal shifts for Black people, because you can't say that, you know, 400 plus years I treated you one way, but now I'm giving you rights, so now we equal again. Like, nah, like that's like if you think about it as a race, right? If you got 400 steps in front of me, and I saw a video that had this, they had a guy, and he just talked about things and told a lot of white people to step forward, right? And they were all on the field. All the Black boys were behind, right? Step forward for all these advantages that they had. The Black boys were standing back. And then he said, go, right? And they ran the race. And he was like, this is life right here. Like, you have a head start, period. And that's the part about the acknowledgement. Like, if you can't acknowledge that there was a head start, like people who say, well, that wasn't me, that was my ancestors, or that you're not getting it. You're not getting the point.
Well, like, my parents were, you're absolutely right. I mean, my folks were born during Jim Crow, right? So that whole your answer, it wasn't me, was the money's still in the system. They just put out an article talking about the majority of the money that millennials got is from inheritance. So what happened to my inheritance? What happened to my grandfather's inheritance and all of those types of things? I think to paraphrase Yvette Carnell again, if y'all don't know who Yvette Carnell is, definitely check out on YouTube at Breaking Brown. But one of the things that she says is, you know, if you take a knife and stab somebody, that'll happen in an instant, but it's going to take much longer to heal. Right. So the wound can happen really quickly, but think about how long it's going to take to heal. And what if you talk about healing it, but keeping the knife in their back? And that's really what has kind of happened to us. And so I think you bring up some great points with that. And I also reject the notion that white folks don't know. I reject the notion, but if they admit they know, then that means they have to do something about it.
Right.
And so they want us to waste time explaining their racist asses to themselves. And so it's a lot of time wasting when in all reality, they know exactly what it is. That's why they wouldn't trade places with us. They know exactly what it is.
You don't want to own that. You don't want to own what the truth is. Owning the truth is almost feeling like you said, I gotta admit I'm a piece of shit. Like you gotta admit what you come from, and that's you don't want to own that. You want it to be enough that you ask, "Hey, I want to do the work. Tell me." Right? You want that
without dismantling the institutions that continue to stab us and continue to hurt us and continue to send our kids into prison and continue to move wealth from our community into others' community. And you think about it. Think about all of the Black ideologies that were created on our pathology instead of upending the system, right? So even our thought leaders look at it as, well, you just need to do a little bit better. We just need to, hey, well, maybe if we stop killing each other, Well, shit, I ain't never killed nobody. I still deserve the protection that should come from the police. I still deserve for my tax dollars to go in the right place and for my community to be equally taken care of as any community. And so they keep running this con that says that we have to be a certain way to achieve or to get the justice that we're supposed to get. And it's a con. It moves you into the direction of blaming yourself for something that is bigger than all of us. You know, in the words of Neely Fuller, you know, racism, white supremacy is a system that controls all areas of activity. That's economics, entertainment, education, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. So every area of activity, and you can't call something supreme and think that you can do something under it without destroying the supreme. And the opposite of white supremacy is justice. So until we talk about justice, you can't talk about, you know, racial justice. How can you talk about racial justice without talking about full economic repair? How can you do that without being willing to even mention the people who were damaged? And I wanna just throw this out there, and then I promise I'm gonna shut the hell up. When you talk about who was damaged, it was the Americans who descend from chattel slavery. All of this concept that everyone is equally affected. Hey, you know, Daniel Kaluuya, he can't catch a cab in New York either. He deals with racism. Oh, well, this guy, he has brown skin. He deals with racism too. Well, none of those racism were codified into law. And another just fact is that pre-1965, pre-Civil Rights Act, 99-point-something% of the people in the United States that classified as Black descended from slavery. So we know that the majority of Black immigrants, the majority of Latino immigrants, and all of these other groups did not come until after civil rights. So when you talk about what party was harmed, if you go from 1619, and I like to go from 1776, because that's when the country was founded. So if you go from 1776 to 1965, the only people who were getting fucked over were us. Every other group had the opportunity to come here, get land grants, get free labor, get all of these other things. And here we are building the country. Here we are not getting to keep our intellectual property, not getting to keep our physical property, not even having control of our own bodies, male and female, as it pertains to us. And so I think it's important that we understand that it was us that paved the way for every other group. It was us that really have dealt with the brunt of racism. And until they deal with us, they don't get the right to say America's great. They don't get the right to say that it's a land of justice and liberty. All of that is bullshit until we get taken care of.
Hey, preach, Reverend.
I'm on that shit. You know, I got my Nat Turner shirt on, so I'm feeling like I'm somebody today.
You should probably put on a wife beater for this conversation. What? Tell me about the title, man. Where did Two Flew West come from?
Yeah, that's just fly.
Think about it.
Literally. I get it. I wanted to hear you say it.
That's all it is, man. That's what it came from. Look,
it blows my mind even now that y'all are out in California. And I mean, I don't know why y'all been there forever, but it's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's out in California.
I'm with you, Simeon. I'm there too. They don't match. But let me ask you.
Come on with it.
What's the overwhelming perception of East Coast people doing things in the West Coast? Because like in Atlanta, nobody's from Atlanta. Like 2% of the population in Atlanta is from Atlanta. Everybody else came here from somewhere else. So there's no room to judge people from other areas, really.
Right.
But what's it like being in LA when you a DC nigga? I mean, how does that work? How are you perceived?
Well, I'll speak to that since you brought up LA first. I mean, I would say it's a substantially higher figure of people that are from here that are here in comparison to Atlanta, obviously. And the natives are the natives, and they are the Angelinos. But there is it's 50-50, maybe 60-40, like where there's out of towners just here that's descended upon the city, and it's so much so that you can't necessarily tell who is a part of the growth of the city and who is just here. You know
but
what I
fat
mean?
niggas stick out though, right? Fat
I,
niggas are like, you ain't from that.
listen,
You ain't from that coast.
when you hear and you understand, like it took me, like I said, I'm almost 6 years in, and so first year was like a blur, not even gonna lie. Second year it's like okay, because I had I moved back to DC for a little bit for a couple months, and then I came back, and I had to put myself in a different mindset when I came back, because I was like, all right, I kind of already know what it is now. Now I got to see the feel for what it is, and it's really just kind of just study the narrative. And there's a lot of narratives all over the place here in LA, but I think the biggest thing is that, this is my belief. People can take it how they want to take it. The thing that I thrive in the most, or try to find resolve in for myself, is that LA. I love LA, and I chose to move to LA because it was slower. By practice, right? Like people practice, and they focus on things that are more of an emotional aesthetic that is like they want to like chill. Everybody's chill. Everybody just want to go hang out and fellowship and so forth and so on. There's a lot of clever people. There's a lot of obviously people that are aspiring in all types of arts, sports, and all types of things. But at the end of the day, everybody just kind of want to chill, and it's image based. But my thought process is, well, coming from DC, where the East, especially the Northeast, where it's kind of dog eat dog. Like at the end of the day, like we moving, we thinking how we can get ahead. What's the move? Like what I mean? What's the capitalization? How can we flip this? How can we turn that? So to come over here with that kind of mindset, it was huge for me, because I didn't feel like at no point I felt like I feel like I belong here more so than I belong in DC. You know what I mean? And it's just, I live that every day. And I think that that's part of the culture here, as far as being an East Coast person moving over to the LA. Whereas if you are still about the hustle and bustle and thinking quick, I think it really split down the middle, where people either go to New York or LA. I mean, New York or Atlanta, if you want to stay popping and keep it moving. But if you really want to try to fuse in, take a step back, and kind of be, not trendsetters, but kind of a person that is kind of ahead of the curve, then you choose LA, and you go to LA, and you get to kind of take things slow and surf. Basically, that's how I liken it to like my kids. It's like, daddy's surfing right now. I'm figuring it out, and riding the waves, and hopefully I catch a big one and make noise off it. You know what I mean? And
right.
That's that about LA. I'll let him speak on NorCal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the Bay, so the Bay Area is like, I mean, it's an interesting area. You know what I mean? Like, it's very diverse, a lot of different people. In education, there's a lot of East Coast people here. Like, a lot of people from the East Coast come here because the pay is usually better. And opportunity seems to be, unless you're in DC. I mean, DC, there's a lot of opportunity, but past that, there's a lot of opportunity out here when it comes to that level of that job field, at least. I mean, I always said, I think you can tell the difference between somebody from the East Coast and at least in the Bay, the West Coast. I don't know. If they with you, they with you. Like, and you find that out. It's a little harder to find it out, I think. In the East Coast, kind of right away if somebody with you or not. Like, it's the layer of bullshit ain't necessarily there. I think here they kind of lay a layer of bullshit a little more and figure it out, and then it's like, okay, well, it is what it is. And I'll be honest with you, me coming out here, I thought everybody's, what you see in the movies, like, what's up, cuz? What's up, cuz? What it do, cuz? And I'd be laughing. I'd be telling them, I'd be like, look, I thought all y'all talk like that, because in the movies, you see palm trees, you see the joints bouncing, and you see, what's up, cuz? What it do, cuz? Right? And now it is some people who talk like that, but it's still a diverse amount of people out here that just don't, right? And they like, oh, you got an accent too. And I'm like, what? Nah, not me. But whatever. It's like, I don't know. I found that overall, I'm very fond of the Bay. I can't say I like love it. Like it's like, oh my God, I found home when I came here. I mean, my Raiders were here. I mean, they moved to Vegas now, but I've been a Raiders fan and I got to see them for like 2 years at least. But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's kind of like it is slower. And I think that fits my vibe all the way. Like I've always been more of a laid back dude. Like, hey, let's figure it out. Whatever needs to happen, let's make it happen. You know, ride the wave of it. That is here, like all the way, like all the way. So I think that fits what I need. Though every once in a while I miss the speed of like DC or New York and wouldn't mind going there and like jumping in for a little bit and then like jumping out. Kind of like going into a pool and then get out. I don't want to say live in the pool, but every once in a while I do want to take a dip in the pool and, you know, get a couple laps in and then come back out to this chill, sit on the sidelines and so, you know.
My wife actually went to UC Berkeley, so she talks about the Bay all the time.
Yeah, it's interesting too, and I want to piggyback off that. It's funny because I feel like almost to a point where, how can I put this eloquently? Because I obviously don't want to offend anybody, and I have a tendency to do that because I think I speak for I think. Anyway,
I learned if you put a punchline after it, it's not offensive.
Well, I have sarcasm just like that, but in the grand scheme of things, people are just like, "Oh, you're a butthole," so whatever. But I think with regard to being out here and being from the East Coast, like I don't feel I need to change for nobody. I don't feel like I came out here to find myself. You know what I mean? I found that I came out here to connect and link in and further perpetuate my already blossoming and idea. I understand that my ways and my thoughts rub a lot of people out here the wrong way because I don't subscribe to the aesthetic that is what it is here in LA. You know what I mean? And that's just because maybe it's because the Northeast to me has always been harsh. But like at the end of the day, it's like, no, I'm about business. We make things, we do what we need to do. We move things forward, so forth and so on. If we're not vibing. Cut it. It's done. Like it is what it is. And in a lot of ways, that's not the vibe here. You know what I mean? So
and with the unlimited amount of resources, you got as much money and access to wealth as you want. Which coast would you live on?
Oh, what's still the West Coast? West Coast.
Shit, I'd live on the damn West Coast if I had unlimited resources. Whether y'all know or not, I won't go into detail. Y'all all know it, but I moved to Atlanta on the way to LA, and I just never made it to LA. I was actually planning to move to LA, never made it there. It's still one of my favorite spots. Me and wifey, anytime we can get the hell away from the kids, which seems like fucking never. Anytime we can get the hell away from the kids.
I told you I babysit.
We're gonna head out to LA. Well, now that I got that new one, I don't know, man.
Well, yeah, you got a new baby. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Look, I went over to Simeon's house. This is the only story I'm gonna tell, Simeon, I promise. I went over to Simeon's house. He's helping me edit some footage. He's a great editor, if you didn't know. It just takes him 8 days. I went over to his house.
It does. It does.
We're editing footage. It's the best time of my life. His daughter wants to come in and quote unquote see daddy's friend. So her mom walks into the room. We edit this all the equipment in one room. She opens the door. The daughter walks in. Mama's behind her. She wanted to see daddy's friend. His daughter looks at me like this and then walked the fuck out the room. She is as literal as they come.
She sure is.
That's all I needed.
She said what she wanted. She did it, and she went on with her life. I think that's hilarious.
She's off the chain too.
That's man, awesome. Love your kids.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's jump back into this really quick. To stay on the topic of politics, we wanted to ask what your thought process is, and like, how do you feel of the state of the presidential transition of power, the election results, state of union. Oh, and by the way, we want to say thank you formally to the state of Georgia because y'all pulled it out. It was on the second. Everybody, y'all got the side eye now. Goddamn it, y'all. We was side eyed, and the whole America was side eyeing y'all. Like, bruh.
He trying to get them to count it again. They want to count it again. He said, count it one more time.
But second recount. And we got a Senate race coming up. It ain't over. The game ain't over.
Senate race January 5th. Public Service Commissioner January 5th. So yeah, definitely a lot still popping.
But early voting is what?
What was that?
I said, you got the calendar ready and everything. You already know.
Hey, man.
You got data shit for hit the streets, bruh.
This dude is full of data and other things.
Other things.
I really don't feel there's a shift. I don't feel much of a shift at all. I think the system is playing out exactly as it's supposed to. Simeon and I argue a lot because I'm a real Barack Obama supporter. Mm-hmm. And Barack, I think it's safe to say, did nothing specifically for the Black community. People of color, LGBT community, the Latin Americans. You can argue a lot of things that he did otherwise, but as a Black person, he didn't do anything for Black people. So I'm accepting that. I'm getting to the point where I'm absorbing that and understanding it. I don't 100% believe as a Black man, he had the unilateral power that all his predecessors and everybody after him, his successors, had. I can't prove it. I don't know it, but I just know the system, and it never gives us the freedom that it gives our white counterpart. So I don't believe he had the freedom. That has nothing to do with what you just asked me, but it has everything to do with what you asked me. I don't see a huge shift. I think now is the time for us to grind. We got a hard road to hoe, as my mom would say. We got a long, arduous trip ahead of us, and we got to be serious about it. We got to understand how detrimental these next 8 years are. So I'm a little nervous. I'm not excited at all. Great that a Black face is in the White House. That's great. Whoop-de-doo. But I don't feel a connection until I hear the language of us being free. And nobody wants to free us because they can't even acknowledge we're living with knees on our necks.
Well, so, I take to go along with that, Damon. I'd say that we can't even acknowledge we're living with knees on our necks.
That's what I meant.
You know, well, yeah, they damn sure won't, but I don't think we will. Me and you go back and forth about Barack Obama. Barack Obama was an administration of almost 2,500 appointees. He could have done whatever the fuck he wanted to do. And the one thing that we've learned from Donald Trump is what it looks like when you wield power. So I could list off a whole group of executive orders he could have made specifically to benefit Black folks around HBCUs, around auditing the banks, around holding up mergers if they aren't hiring a certain amount of Black people or doing business with a certain amount of Black companies. All of SBA loans, he could have affected SBA loans. Under Barack Obama, our SBA loans went from 8.2% to 1.7%. So, you're talking about the most Black wealth in our modern lives was decimated under Barack Obama, whereas white families got handout after handout. Instead of bailing out homeowners, he bailed out the banks. I mean, and where do Black folks hold most of their wealth? In the home. So in other words, any of that wealth that was held, the little bit we had, which is the smallest amount, it's one modicum of hell that we had, was destroyed by him choosing not to do what was best for us. But that's a whole different story than this current presidential situation. But unfortunately, it's the same story. I think we already lost. Even though we won, I think we lost. And we lost because how did Joe Biden win? How did Joe Biden win the primary? Joe Biden won the primary because Black voters in South Carolina won. He won the primary for two reasons. One of them, because Black voters in South Carolina picked Joe Biden. The other one is because the primary was brokered in South Carolina. Who dropped out before South Carolina? Kamala Harris. Now remember, just a few weeks before that, she was that girl. even though it come to find out she never actually went to segregated school. It had been integrated much before her. She went to high school, junior high, lived most of her life in Canada. So we know that was a lie in the con. But remember, Pete Buttigieg dropped out in South Carolina. So Kamala, who had raised some of the most money, dropped out before the first primary or before the first major primary. So think about that. That means that the Democratic Party made its decision before the vote in South Carolina. I believe the Democratic Party told black people to kiss their ass by having Joe Biden be the nominee. Because what a worse nominee than Joe Biden. So I believe, but to go back to my actual point, Joe Biden won the primary because of black voters. Joe Biden won the election because of black voters. The unfortunate part is, as a voting bloc, we didn't harness that power before we voted to get something. So we played politics backwards. So we're celebrating that he won, but we didn't have the political savvy to say we won't vote for you unless. Now, if you look at the timeline, when the Miami Herald, I believe, came out with the report saying that a lot of Latinos aren't voting for Biden, he released a day one promise for them. When Kamala wanted to ensure she could get the South Asian voters, what did she do? We're going to remove the caps on H-1B visas. Right. So all of these day one promises, and what we said was we got to get rid of Trump. So the only thing that we voted for is already done. We won't get shit for the next 4 years. And because our prize was Joe Biden, when our prize should have been a black agenda with reparations as the heartbeat. Our prize should have been transformational policies that we demanded for our vote, but we're a captured electorate. So essentially, all the Democrats have to say is they hate your ass, nigga. That's all they have to say. But the gag is the Democrats hate us too. So I think because we didn't politically advocate for something, and you look at how many people, and you brought up Ice Cube earlier. Look at all the vitriol he got just for saying that we need to advocate to everybody to get our needs met. And just think about that. And that's why, I like his tweets after that were like, so y'all are mad at me for advocating for black folks, have a nice life. Because he's right. Like, at the end of the day, we should be talking to any and everybody who's willing to meet our political needs, because we should not be tied to one political ideology or one political party. We should be tied to our political self-interest as a group.
Isn't that what white women do?
Absolutely. White women have not voted primarily Democrat in over 70 years. You look at it, as a matter of fact, Donald Trump, based off of exit polls, got a 5% increase in white women voting for him. Over 30% of Latinos, black men and black women, just like with Obama, just like with Hillary Clinton, and just like with Joe Biden, were the leading two demographics to vote for them. So think about how white supremacy works. Who's been catching all the heat lately about voting? Black men. So think about that. No other male group voted higher for Joe Biden than we did. But you're hearing about the little percentage of us that voted for Trump, or them that voted for Trump. I didn't vote for Trump. I voted down ballot. I said, fuck both of y'all. If y'all aren't willing to meet our needs as a people, neither one of you are earning my vote. And I think we need to get that way, whereas our vote should be an exchange. It should be earned. It should be earned via policy. I totally disagree with what Barack Obama said when he was like, your vote isn't transactional. Nigga, yes, it is. Fuck you. Yes, it is. And if you listen to what he's saying out of his new book, you close your eyes, you'll think it's Richard Spencer or David Duke. So in all reality,
I can't read books with my eyes closed, Simeon. You're amazing.
Hey,
it's the Audible version, the Audible.
The Audible.
I'm sorry.
Get up with the times, baby.
I was with it.
That osmosis he got. You're like, oh, okay, so this is how this book turns out.
Hey, like you was talking about lobbying on, and he talked about Donald Trump being transactional, right? And wishing that Democrats actually did move in that way more. So I mean, I agree with your point. Like it is transactional. Like kind of, most extents, that's what it is. Do this, I'm gonna do this, right?
Yep.
The one thing I do think is a couple pushes there, like with Ice Cube. I hope he doesn't disappear now. That's one of my pushes.
I can't blame him if he does, though. But I hope he doesn't either.
But he can't. Like for the pushes he was making, like he can't disappear now. Like if now he got to be louder than he was before, right? And I think the one thing I think about Joe Biden right now, and I agree, like a lot of his winning the primary was honestly he was Obama's VP. You know what I mean? It was still riding off that.
Oh, it was a vote against Trump.
He says, no, he's like, you know me.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know you? Like, no, I don't. I don't know you.
We know you as the person who architect of mass incarceration. The person who we know you. Yeah, we do know that motherfucker.
And that's not what he's pushing. You know what he's pushing, right? You know me as the VP that was with the first black president. Come on, vote for me, because that's what you're supposed to do. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black, right?
Captured. Yeah. We are captured.
And that's what he like. It's weird. I think I look at Joe Biden and think, is he somebody who can be pushed to do something? I think he is. I think
absolutely think he is.
Political pressure. Can we put enough pressure on him to hold his word to some of the things he said he would do? I think he is, right? I don't think he's this guy that has these solid plans that's like, I'm coming in and here's my agenda, here's my vision. I don't think, like, what was his campaign? Like, what was his
what he did?
What was his slogan?
Look, he said on day one, he was going to do something for DACA. He said in his first 100 days, he was going to remove the caps for H-1B visas. So he does have a plan. And if you look at who he's naming as his cabinet, it's telling you what his plan is. Think about how insidious it is to put Rahm Emanuel ahead of housing. And you look at the housing situation in Chicago. You think about his chief of staff was one of the architects, the law and order architects dating back before Clinton. So he's telling us what he's going to do. And I do think he can be persuaded, but I think we already missed the opportunity. The opportunity to persuade him was before.
I agree. Voted. I agree. That was a better time.
It was to get him. Agree. It's just like what the old folks used to say. Why buy the milk? Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Well, he got the fucking milk for free. He got the milk for free, a hand job, and a Slurpee. And we and our asses and our reality got all that shit. We might even went back and got the nigga icy. And like for our aspect of things, our view, I believe, as a larger political group, was just about getting Trump out, because we're not even used. And to be fair, we've only been voting for 55, 60 years or whatever. And on top of that, there's all of the levels of voter suppression. There are, we're constant, all of the trauma that we've had to deal with. But I hope we learn a lesson, because Barack Obama becoming the first black president, Kamala Harris becoming the first black vice president is the best example of how America has failed black people. And the reason being is because we still haven't become president or vice president before. The group of people that descended from slavery are still on the bottom. We still make the least amount. We still have the least wealth. We're still getting killed by police the most. But they'll sprinkle someone who may have went to a HBCU or someone who has melanin as one of us. And they're not one of us. You want to piss a Jamaican off? Call them black. I'm Jamaican. I'm Trinidadian. So what that means is that the word black, as it pertains to the context of America, initially meant the people who descended from chattel slavery. If during Jim Crow, there were talks amongst several states to where if someone from the Caribbean or someone from Africa was here, giving them a pen so they know that they weren't to be treated like the blacks who live here.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that there is a difference. There's a wealth difference. You look in right there in LA. I think the average Nigerian Black American in LA is worth like $130,000. The average Black person in LA is only worth $200. So we're talking about a completely different life. So to say an Indian and Jamaican woman is the first Black vice president, or a Kenyan and white man is the first Black president, is actually erasing us from the map altogether. And so we should actually be pissed. We should be completely upset that we don't even know how to identify one another. And our view of our race is through the lens of white supremacy, because we don't even recognize that we have our own lineage, that we have our own group. One of the reasons why all of us can connect, and we could connect in college, is because although our stories were different, we all had the same level or some aspect of struggle to even be there. Mm-hmm. And that struggle was generational. It was somebody had to make a major sacrifice at some point for us to be at school. We had to, whether it be take on loans, whether it be work. Me and Devin was working. We was right there at the Y. I'm working at this place, that place, working through college, RA, as soon as any aspect that we could. But that's not a shared story of all people with melanin. That's not a shared story. It's our story. And I think we have to take control of our story so we can actually look at Kamala Harris in the manner in which we should. I remember when she gave her speech, because she announced her campaign twice. So she announced it on MLK Day for Black folks. What a mind fuck. And then she announced it again out in Oakley, or out in San Francisco. And what did she say? We have to be unburdened by our past. Who, motherfucker? Us? We need to be unburdened by our past? We'll take the burden off and support reparations in a Black agenda. Mm-hmm. So what they're really, we're talking about peak level erasure, and we are being erased right in front of our own eyes, and we're clapping for it. So to bring it home to Georgia, and then I'll be quiet again. To bring it home to Georgia, we got two senators running. Just because Georgia flipped blue for Biden, we're still a red state. The legislature is still red. The governor is still red. We're still behind enemy lines. My fear is that Warnock is trying to be too white to win. The fact that you got somebody who reigns from Ebenezer Baptist Church, the church of Martin Luther King, and he's afraid to say Black. You got John Ossoff, who runs races all the time and just fucking loses. So you got two people. You got two people running. You got Stacey Abrams, who we all know. Stacey, one of the reasons her organization is so strong is because she took that money from Bloomberg. Well, that money wasn't free. So we got Stacey Abrams, who took money from Bloomberg. You got McBath over there in Cobb County and some of Atlanta, who won't say Black. She'll only talk about gun control, even though it was racism that had that person kill her son. She'll only talk about guns. She won't talk about the race side of it. We got all of these politicians playing Black and refusing to acknowledge Black. So while I want a Democratic Senate, I think that I don't see it happening. I don't see. Kelly Loeffler got like 1.9 million votes. Doug Collins, the other Republican, because there were 21 candidates in that race. Doug Collins got like 900,000 votes. Raphael Warnock, I think, got 1.6 million. So the top three people, two Republicans, one Democrat in that particular race. I think it's going to be a hard sell to get that many folks out to the polls for a non-presidential election. And so I think that I also think that the strategy that Democrats are doing, flooding our state with all these talking heads like Andrew Yang, fuck Andrew Yang. You can't, that's like me coming to LA trying to talk shop about politics. It's not going to work. It's not going to work because none of these people have to live with these decisions after they leave.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think their strategy should be to get with the grassroots. It should be to start talking like you want to get the black vote. But because we're a captured electorate, all you got to do is either be black or say, I hate Trump, and we'll come out and vote for you. I just don't think it'll be enough.
Yeah, you said a lot, bro, and a lot that was really no. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it was definitely a lot of points to cover. You covered a lot of ground really quick, but most of it, if not all of it, was electric, bro. So I mean, I guess I gotta say we have to get ready to start winding it down. But I definitely want to kind of change the narrative for this last question. Because we could talk about politics all day. In fact, we might have to do a part two to this one.
Part two.
I think we have to do a part two.
You gotta bring Law in too.
And Peter.
Keep it going.
Bring Law in. COVID-19 vaccine. What are your thoughts about that?
Tuskegee.
Dude, I'm so real about it.
Right on me.
I need 4 white churches and all of white America to take the vaccine first,
please.
I'm okay taking it. I'm not going to be experimental because I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is that far from Tuskegee.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to be experimental with it. Plus, I believe in a herd immunity. I feel if enough of y'all take it, I'll be fine. So I'm good waiting to see what happens. Plus, I have learned to live my life in this room. I don't need to leave until shit is straight. I can stay in here another year and be cool. No shit. I can stay right up here. My wife is right next door. Everything I need is available to me via Grubhub and my toilet and my upstairs bedroom. I need to leave here for nothing. I saw Dave Chappelle. He overcharged the shit out of me. That's the only reason I left this house in the last 4 months. So, no, I will not be taking the vaccine immediately.
Yeah, I won't either. I've never even taken the flu vaccine.
Me
and I haven't caught the flu. But nonetheless, you know what? I think they should start with politicians and police.
Mm-hmm.
Just start right there, because the police seem to not give a fuck about COVID. They'll still shoot you. They'll still arrest you. They'll still get up in your face and pat you down. So we need to protect our first responders. So
I love it when it works against them.
I love it.
Give the police, they should get it first. Right behind that, all of the executives, all of the folks in the cabinet should get it. I want to see Bill and Melinda Gates take it. They need to get that shit on air by Dr. March.
Exactly.
Right, I need to see them get it. But I'm not in, because here goes the thing. It's not that blacks are more prone to get COVID. We're more prone to be in the situations that make it to where it'll more than likely get us. So you don't want to fix that. You don't want to fix the fact that most of us are locked in the low wage customer facing jobs. You don't want to fix that shit. You want to get us a vaccine so you can be like, niggas, get your asses back out there to work. I ain't passing no other stimulus. So you don't want to do that. Nah, man, fuck that vaccine for the while, man. I'll be right here in this house. I'll be rubbing alcohol on my gums, a little bourbon. I got a teething baby, so I do it for me. You know, I'll do that before whatever that does. I don't think it does shit, but it feels kind of good. You know how you? But I'll do that shit.
Make the face again, Simeon.
I'm not.
Yeah, sip my apple cider vinegar and call it a day.
There you go. There you go. Take that shit. But it be worth it.
It heal everything.
Dr. Sebi used to say baking soda and vinegar will change pH so much most of these diseases can't infect you. So
I'm gonna go have some of that shit tonight. I hope my baking soda doesn't taste like my refrigerator though.
He's gonna have some of that tonight. Like he about to make it like a dish.
Yeah. I do my lemon and turmeric shots.
I know that's right.
That's ridiculous. So you talk about throwing vinegar and baking soda, sarsaparilla that day on all time. sassafras or whatever. I can't know. I'm sorry.
Little frankincense.
Just give me some aspirin, bro. Just give me aspirin. I actually.
Hey, man, look, I know we got to wrap up, but I just wanted to say quickly, man. Like I appreciate you gentlemen coming on. Like y'all were the first dudes that I like, really linked and bonded with in college. We went through a lot, you know what I mean? And like y'all don't even know, like y'all set new standards for me as being black men. Like I came from a high school where, it was like 1,000 on the SAT, and I was looked at as a superstar. Like, oh man, you
ain't lying either.
Everything, right? And y'all came and y'all was like, oh, I got this, I got that. And there were certain things that y'all had done already that you don't even know when you were saying it. I was like, fuck, I'm behind. Like, you know what I mean? Raise the standard just in there. As we freshmen in college, I'm looking like I gotta raise my Damon, going back to the self-inflicted like things. For the first time, it wasn't like I gotta catch the white man. It was like I gotta catch my brothers right here. Right? Y'all gave me a standard that was right, that looked like me. You feel what I'm saying? And like that, like I'm forever appreciative of, like showing me different things and exposing me to different music. You know what I'm saying? Different vibes, different, like, just y'all open my world up and you don't even probably know it. You know what I'm saying? Like coming from where me and Donnie was, like there's cats who haven't crossed the bridge to go from Maryland to Virginia. And they like in their 40s. And it's not even a joke. Like they crossed the bridge. And it's one bridge to take you to Virginia. You know what I mean? So coming down there and going through the things we went through and the conversations that we had, man, like y'all are intricate, like piece of my like growth as a man. And I will always like forever appreciate y'all. Y'all are my brothers forever. We definitely got to do a part 2 to this to keep this conversation going.
Word, man. I feel the same about y'all, man, because there were many times, Devin, we was up in your apartment kicking it, playing Super Nintendo, or was it PlayStation? We was rocking. One of my first jobs at Hampton came because Brother Baker got me that job over there at the Y. You know what I'm saying? Same shit with Donnie. I think we all just build together, man, and that was a good thing about a black college, where, and if you look at it, those interactions change your life, my life, our lives, in multitudes of ways. If for nothing else, just exposure to different folks, different people and shit, man. So I'll never take that shit back. That shit was jamming. It was some of the best times of my life. I can't do half as many push-ups anymore. I used to be able to do them motherfuckers, but it was a time, man. And I appreciate y'all. I appreciate being able to come on, man. And much respect for y'all for doing this too.
Hell yeah. Which one of y'all motherfuckers owe me an apology for bailing on the Lowdown family reunion?
It might be me.
Is that you?
It might be
Donnie,
me.
I swear.
I don't think that's what I was coming, but it might be me. I'm gonna say it.
No. I need y'all in Atlanta. I don't be putting these shits together for my own purposes. I want to see y'all again. And Donnie, if you promise to show up and don't, I'm gonna beat your ass from this coast to that.
You see, hold on. You see what's going on with this? See,
this coast.
And I understand that, brother. And I understand the fervor that you get with your vernacular right now. You gotta understand. We got responsibilities, bro. I like and I had to break it down to like Tony, look, bro, I got 3 miles of feed, brother. Like I'm out here, we working, bro. So
I know that's right, bro.
I gotta pay the bills, bro. I love you guys as much as I'd love to see you. I got business to take care of, brother. So
understand.
We gotta make it happen though.
Charge it to my head, charge it to my heart, bro.
Just tell me when y'all can do it, and we'll form it around your availability.
Hey, anytime. Tony in Atlanta too, right?
No.
Beach.
Oh, he back there. Okay, got it. All right, we can figure it
out. Well, if nothing else, man, we can rock a Zoom. I'll tell you that. The good thing about COVID is everybody can be closer while being further apart. So
this is true. Absolutely,
man,
I love it.
Yeah, this jump was rocking, man. I'm so glad y'all doing something, man, with this jump, because there's a space out there. Our voices ain't really getting heard in the same way. People with the types of experiences that we have. who really did everything right and still had to figure shit out. And so I'm loving that y'all out here talking this talk.
Appreciate you. Definitely appreciate you.
This is very well produced, by the way. It looks much better than a lot of stuff I see here. So I commend you for that.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
My man.
That's what happens with two fly west. I was about to say two flew west, but you know what I mean. But it's all love, guys. Like you said, we'll definitely have you back on for a second episode. We'll talk about that and how we can get these Zooms popping to get all of the brothers back in. Because we need to get all like BJ, Rollo, Skillet is already down. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I talked to Cellophane. Cellophane said he gonna come through next month too. So, you know, we definitely need to get this work up and
Hell yeah,
together.
Hell yeah. All right, fellas, it's been love, man. I appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, appreciate you. Again, welcome. Outgoing Two Flew West, Donnie B got the beats. My brother Nicholas Baker. We got our family, Damon and Simeon, and you know, everybody stay safe in the pandemic and live life with love. And that's all we got to say about it. Out.
Peace.
Peace.